My skillets and my biscuits. What I got here today, we're going to make up this kale and cabbage. I have 2 heads of green cabbages that I'm going to go ahead and chop up. And to that, I also have, this is 2 bundles of kale that I'm going to be washing off and chopping up as well. But guys, before you do anything, because I'm going to be doing this in a sink, make sure your sink is nice and cleaned out, okay? And also, what you want to get, ham shank. I have in here is 2 ham shanks, and it only cost me $2.43 for these 2 ham shanks. And you want pork hocks. Same thing as, you know, pork hocks is, you know, pork hocks. And only came to $2.41. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go ahead and open these up and rinse them off, because on the stove I have over there a pot of water boiling that I'm going to boil these in. But first I want to get them all rinsed off, and then we'll start working on the kale. So if you've never seen a ham shank, this is a ham shank. Has a little bone in it. The rest is the meat, and all this is flavor. This is the smoke. These are smoked. And here is your ham hock. Has a little bone there. And this is down by the ankle of the pig. That's basically what this is, and these have been smoked. So quickly we just rinse these off. Very quickly. And then we're going to add them into our pot of boiling water. So guys, once I've gotten these all nice and washed up, I'll bring you back at that point, okay? All right. So into this pot of hot water, I'm just going to drop these in. You can use tongs if you choose to. I've been doing this so long, I'll just go ahead and drop that in. So guys, I have my stove turned up to 6, and my water's already hot, and it would be good if you can get your ham shanks and your meat into a rolling boil of water, but if you don't, that's okay. But that's one of the first things you want to do before you start on your vegetables, is get your meat in the pot, because it's going to take them, I would say, about a good hour to get nice and tender. Okay, let's meat back up at the sink. So now that my meat's in the pot, my kale is in the sink. At this point, this is where I'm going to start to wash off my kale, and I'll take them one at a time. I'm going to clean them off one at a time. And I have a bowl here, and I'm going to sit them in. And guys, you want to do this at least a good 3 times, going through your vegetables and making sure there's no sand or dirt or anything in them. I've shown you guys how to do this once before when I made my famous collard greens. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time here. But for those of you who haven't seen me do this, this is basically what I do. I rinse them off, and I put them into my bowl until I'm all done. And at that point, guys, we're going to meet right back up. Okay. For those of you who have never seen me cut up a cabbage, or really don't know how to cut up a cabbage, there is a video that I have that will show you how, but for the sake of time and just for this demonstration, I'm going to show you how I cut up a cabbage. First of all, this here in the middle, this is a core. And I'm going to cut this off. Sorry about that, guys. My phone, I decided it wanted to fall to the floor. I guess it got tired. We're going to keep on going, right? This is the core you're going to cut out. I'm going to cut that cabbage right down the middle. right down the middle. And then depending on what size you want it, and chop her up. Today I'm using rather large pieces because the people that I'm feeding, they like larger pieces of cabbage. And I'm going to be feeding about 6 people today. Again, you're going to take it, cut her up, and there you are. There's your cabbage, all cut up. But you can make it smaller if you choose to. And the other thing I'm going to show you is how to cut your kale. Just one moment. So for the sake of demonstration, I'm just going to show you with these couple of pieces of kale, and I basically do it the same way I would with collard greens. I stack them, and the long stem I'll cut off, but I still use it, but it's awfully long. I'll just go cut that off. Set that to the side, and what I'll do, I'm going to roll these. So I'm just going to give them a rough chop. And that's it, guys. Just a rough chop. If you think it's too big for you, just go ahead and tear them apart. No big deal. No big deal, guys. None at all. But as I said, I'm going to use these stems. I'm going to use these stems in my greens today because a lot of nutrition is right here in these. A lot of vitamins and nutrition is right here in these stems. And this is how I'm cutting them up. And that's it. Just nice and cut. Okay, guys, I'm going to meet you back at the sink because we're not done washing these yet. I'm going to show you what I do next. Just one second. So, guys, in the sink I have the half of the cabbage that I cut up, and I'm just showing you this as a demonstration right now. For those of you who don't, let me tell you something. To be honest with you, let me tell you what you can do with this kale. You can just break it off, and you just break her up. You know, if you don't want that stem, cut her out. Get you a knife and cut this out, or just tear it from the stem. You can do it that way. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do as I cut up this cabbage. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Oh, this is another way I cut up cabbage as well. You know, sometimes I get in a hurry and I don't feel like doing a whole lot of sitting there and cutting this and cutting that. I'll just cut it off and let this like this. And there's the stem right here. Well, it's not the stem, but the core. And I'll just go ahead and cut it off. Now, I don't suggest to my new cooks, if you're not used to handling knives, for you to do this. But that's just how I'm doing it. Okay. Now, while I have this in the sink, I'm going to add a little bit more water. It may get a little noisy, but bear with me. Because you want to at least cover your greens and your cabbage with water. Okay? So guys, what do you want to do when I'm just wiping off my gloves because I'm ready to pick up something and show it to you. It's beautiful, isn't it? You have your green cabbage and then you have your kale. Beautiful colors. It's going to look good on the plate as well. From handling vegetables and people coming into the store, picking up things, picking up the cabbage, picking up the kale, I want to further clean those off and also tenderize it. So I'm using Arm & Hammer pure baking soda. That's right. It's going to do two things for me, guys. It's going to tenderize these greens, it's going to tenderize the cabbage, and it's also going to clean them off really well for me. I'm going to wipe my hands off again. Go in. Flip them around a little bit. I'm going to let them sit in this water for about a good 15 minutes. It doesn't really matter how long they sit there. It's not going to do them any harm by sitting there any longer than that. And this is lukewarm water that I'm using. Almost cold. Just about cold, but not. Okay? Almost, but not. So we're just going to go ahead and let the cabbage and our kale soak, get cleaned, get tenderized in this water. So guys, what you see here is green bell pepper, and I just basically cut that much of a medium size green bell pepper, which I'm going to chop up. And this is a medium sized onion, and I'm going to chop this up as well. And guys, there's no specific way that I'm just cutting this up. It's just going to be a rough chop that I'm doing. And again, if you're not used to handling a knife and doing it all in your hand, you can sit it down on your board, or in my case I have a drain board because I like using this because sometimes I have things that have liquid in it and it might want to drain off into the sink. You can just cut it up this way. I'm just rough chopping it, but I keep this end so it gives me something either to hold on to, or it keeps the onion together until I'm done chopping her up. But I'm just so used to cutting it this way. Just a rough chop. And as far as the green bell pepper, and I'm just doing the same thing, just rough chopping it. Okay, I'm going to finish this up and I'll meet you over at the stove, guys. Guys, I thought I'd bring you back real quick because I want to show you something, just a little tip here. If you can see from the root of this onion, you have these little sprouts that's coming in. I don't know how well you can see those, but honey, let me tell you something, darlings. This right here is what's really making you cry. This right here. So, when you cut your onions up, and you don't really have to do it the way I'm doing it, but let that be the last part of what you cut up on your onion, because baby, talking about some tears, I can feel them in my eyes right now. I just thought I'd come back and show you that little tip. Into this large non-stick skillet, I have some bacon grease that I'm putting in, and this is putting about 1/4 of a cup bacon grease. Now, I just turned my pot on to 5 on my stove. And the reason I didn't have my pot already hot before I put in this oil is because when it comes to non-stick skillets, that's something that you don't want to do, guys. You want to make sure that you have your oil or whatever you're cooking in that pan, before you start to let it smoke and all that kind of stuff, because those fumes aren't good for you. I just thought I'd tell you that, but they really aren't. So we're just going to go ahead and let this come up to temperature, and I'll bring you right back. Okay, my pan has come up to temperature, and she's starting to shimmer. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but it's starting to do a little shimmer. So that lets me know that it's coming up to temperature. Into this pan, I'm going to add some of my crushed red pepper. Why am I doing that? Because I want my oil to get infused with some heat. So that's why I'm putting in crushed red pepper into my oil. And to that, I'm going to add in my onions and my green pepper. That's going to go in as well. And hopefully you guys are seeing things okay. My pot over here is steaming. Let's take a, well, now I'll bring you back. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and begin to fry up, and we'll be right back. So while my spices are starting to infuse into our oil, guys, what I'm going to go ahead and do here, I'm taking out the greens and the cabbage. Try to shake off as much as I can. Reason why is because this is going to go inside of that pan. Yeah, that's right, all of this. And from the pan, it's going to go into my pot with the ham hock and the ham shanks. Now, you don't have to worry about rinsing your greens and your cabbage off because you have the baking soda in there. No. No, no, no. Okay, let's go over here to the stove. I can hear that onions and green peppers and my crushed red peppers. I can hear them sizzling. It's sizzling at the stove. And what I'm going to do, once these onions become translucent, I'm going to be adding in my cabbage and my kale. Okay, looks like the vegetables are ready for me to add in my cabbage and my kale. So right away, that's what we're going to do. I have my ire on medium high, and this cabbage is going to go in here, and it's going to wilt down just as well as the kale. That's going to wilt down as well. Look at my finger. Guys, if you have to do this in batches, do it in batches. But what you want to achieve by doing this, you want to sear it just a little bit. You want the flavors from the oil, that infused oil with your crushed red peppers that's in the bottom. You want that to infuse and come up to the top. It's going to seep up to the top. And the flavors are going to come to the top. So if you have to do this in batches, just go ahead and do it in batches. But what you don't want to do, you don't want to lose that sizzle sound. You want to keep that sizzling sound as long as you can. So I'm continuing to put in my cabbage and my kale, packing her in. And you can still hear that sizzle. You don't want to lose that sizzle. Let's get this all in here, guys. If you don't have a pan as big as mine, then you may have to do it in batches. Guys, this is optional. You don't have to use this. It's optional, definitely optional. But gives it such a good flavor. Such a wonderful flavor. Brandy. Any form of brandy that you want. If you're feeding this to your children, you can omit this part and use chicken broth or something to that point. But I'm adding in brandy. And I'd say that's about 1/3 of a cup. And I'm going to let this brandy cook off, the alcohol from the brandy cook off, and I'll bring you back at that point. Don't forget to cover your pot, guys. Don't forget to put a lid on her and cover your pot. What I want to show you over here in this back on this pot with the ham shank and the ham hocks, off camera I had to do mine in batches as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back and cover her up. We're going to take a look at this pot again. Now at this point, guys, I will be adding in, I have some black peppercorn going in, Creole seasoning. I don't measure anything, guys, so I would say that's about 2 tablespoons of Creole seasoning going in. A little bit more crushed red pepper. Into here I'm going to be adding some seasoned salt. I'd say that's about 1 tablespoon of seasoned salt. And you don't really have to add this, but I am. It's accent. It does wake up the flavor. Really wakes up the flavor. And that's about 1 tablespoon of accent going in as well. And guys, I'm also going to add just a little bit more heat because I know the people that I'm feeding, they like spicy food. They like things kicked up, baby, kicked up. So we're going to go ahead and add in a little bit of Texas Pete. That's about 1/2 tablespoon. I'm going to work this in. And she's beginning to wilt down. What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to take a little bit of this juice. Oh, you can barely even see it, it's so little. Drop a little bit of it on my hand. You can't see that. I can't even see that. Okay. Not my glove, maybe. But I need to taste and see what's going on here. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. And the reason I'm doing it this way, okay, from putting in the frying pan in my pan and getting it all seasoned well, and then into the pot, is because it kind of cuts down on the cooking time somewhat. Guys, basically all the major players are in the pool. And what I'm going to do, I decided not to add any garlic powder or garlic salt, and I'm going to tell you why. What I have here, some Lipton Onion Soup mix. It has garlic in it. I'm going to sprinkle in, not the whole pack. I don't want my greens and cabbage salty. About a half a pack of Lipton Onion Soup mix. And into that, I'm going to be adding in one of these chicken bouillon cubes. That's going in as well. I'm going to get this incorporated in. And if you guys have seen me cook the my collard greens, I don't normally have this much liquid in my pot. I don't. But I have people coming over that, let me tell you, these gentlemen are from the South, deep South. And I know how they like their food. I know how they like it. And one particular gentleman said to me if I could do him a favor and add in some hot links. So that's what I'm going to do for him. I have some hot links here. I'm not cutting them up because everybody doesn't want it. But it will add flavor. It's more flavor. More flavor going in. I'm just going to lay those right there. Just like that. Oh, she's good. She's good. And you would think that this was spicy. It's really not that spicy. Yet. But give it some time to sit. Because I made a mistake and I said this is for today. Actually, it's not. It's for tomorrow. So what I'm going to do right now, because she's good, but I'm going to add in just a little bit more Creole seasoning. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit. And just a little bit more Texas Pete. Don't be afraid, guys. This is you probably look like, oh my God, it's gonna be so hot. No, it won't. It's not gonna be as hot as you think. Okay, so we got all the players in the pool here. Ham hocks down the bottom there. Let's take a look at those ham hocks. They should be small. Oh yeah, look at that. They already falling off the bone. I ain't gotta bring them up. I ain't gonna do that because some of my friends might want a whole one. So that's falling off the bone there. We're gonna go ahead and put the top on it. So guys, within the next hour, I'm gonna let this simmer for about an hour and she'll be done. But I'll give you another look-see. Another look at this. Look at that. Get on down there in the pot. Get on down in there. I want you to see all of that. This is Big Mama's place. This is Big Mama's place. I do it upright. So guys, I'm going to end my video right here. right now. And when you're putting the kids to bed, the work day is done, you're taking your shower, your bath, and you're ready to say your prayers, send one up for Big Mama, Big Mama's Place, her family, and we're going to do the same thing for you. And don't forget to subscribe, like, talk to me by commenting. You know, we can talk. I'm a big girl. I'm a big girl. Yeah. And share. Don't be selfish. Come on and share this video. And I'll see you in the next video for our smothered turkey wings. You ain't seen no turkey wings until you seen my turkey wings. Love you guys. That's the wrong top. There we go. I'll see you guys soon. Take care and be blessed.